Welcome, Chris from eBoost here. Today, I want to talk about a question that should make every marketing leader uncomfortable. Are you still allocating budget to campaigns that statistically do not drive revenue? Because here's the thing. Most teams are making budget decisions based on average ROAS. Average ROAS was never designed to answer the question of where to put your next dollar. I'm going to walk you through 3 things today: why average ROAS is misleading you, how incrementality testing reveals what is actually working, and how modern marketing mix modeling turns all that into confident budget decisions. Let's get into it. So here's what I see constantly with clients or many other marketing companies and marketers. The campaign shows a 4x ROAS. The team celebrates. More budget goes in, but when you actually measure the causal impact, a big chunk of those conversions were going to happen anyway. The campaign was not creating a demand. It was just taking credit for it. This is what some might call the flaw of averages. Average ROAS divides total revenue by total spend, gives you one number, but that number tells you nothing about what the next dollar will do. What you actually need is a marginal ROAS. That is the additional revenue from each additional dollar, and these two numbers can tell completely different stories. A campaign with a 3x average ROAS might have a marginal ROAS of 0.8. That means every new dollar you add to that campaign loses money, right? Meanwhile, a campaign with a modest 1.5 average ROAS might have a marginal ROAS of over 2. It is still climbing. It is underinvested, right? So retargeting is a classic example. The highest reported ROAS in a dashboard, right? Lowest incremental lift when you actually test it, because retargeting catches people who are already going to buy or likely to buy. So the takeaway is that average ROAS is fine for monitoring. It will never be the basis for your allocation. So if average ROAS cannot answer the allocation question, what can? It's really incrementality testing. The concept is simple. Take a channel or campaign, turn it off in one market, keep it running in another. Measure the difference. That delta is your incremental contribution. Revenue that would not have existed without that marketing activity. So this is powerful because it moves you from correlation to causation. Attribution model, even multi-touch ones, are still correlative. They observe touch points and assign credits based on position. Incrementality tests ask a fundamentally different question. What happens when we remove this variable? Over half of US marketers are already using incrementality testing, and here's what they are finding. Paid brand search and retargeting are consistently overcredited by attribution. Upper funnel channels like programmatic display and connected TVs are consistently undercredited. If you have never run an incrementality test, there's almost certainly a meaningful gap between what your dashboard says and what is actually driving revenue. So this is not surprising. Start with the channels where you spend the most and have the most uncertainty. Run a geo holdout test. Compare it against your attribution data. The gap between those numbers is your opportunity. Incrementality testing tells you whether a channel works, right? So marketing mix modeling tells you how much to spend on it, exactly where the diminishing returns begin. Modern MMM decomposes your revenue into 2 buckets: base sales driven by brand equity and non-marketing factors, and incremental sales generated by each channel. Then it produces diminishing return curves for every channel, so you can see exactly where additional spend stops producing proportional returns. The optimization strategy is to equalize marginal ROI across channels. You find a point on each curve where the next dollar produces the same return, and you allocate accordingly. Research shows this approach typically delivers 10 to 25% efficiency gains without spending a dollar more. And the best part of modern MMM is scenario simulation, what-if analysis. Before you commit to a budget shift, you can model it. What happens if I cut paid social by 20% and redistribute it to connected TV? What if I increase total spend by 15% next quarter? You get a range of expected outcomes grounded to your actual data. Nearly half of US marketers now plan to increase MMM investment, and the cost barriers have dropped significantly. AI-driven platforms have cut implementation from months to weeks, with ROI payback in 2 to 4 months. So let's recap. 1. Average ROAS is misleading for budget allocation because it hides diminishing returns and it takes credit for conversions that would have happened anyway. 2. Incrementality testing gives you causal proof of what is actually driving revenue. And 3. Modern MMM takes that proof and turns it into an optimized allocation model with scenario planning built in. The best marketing teams are not the ones with the biggest budgets. They are the ones with the best measurement. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Thank you. See you again.